and welcome back to Olympia podcast. I'm your host Husna, and today we are honored to have with us Dr. Emeka Kennedy, and the founder and CEO of Prime Class Concert Africa. So our discussion today is about one powerful topic. How Malaysian higher education and training institutions are playing an increasing role in developing and upscaling government officers and public servants from across Africa. So welcome, Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you very
It's a
much.
pleasure to have you here. To begin, could you share the story behind Prime Class Concert Africa and how it came to focus on training African government servants through Malaysian institutions?
Okay, thank you very much. It's my pleasure being in your podcast, on your program. In fact, I'm delighted to be here and to share my experiences with Malaysian communities. Yeah, Prime Class Consult actually is the management consulting firm and educational training institutions. So when we started from Africa, particularly in Nigeria, after my banking, working in the bank, I left the bank, then I started a company. Then after that, I came into Malaysia for studies. I came to study in Malaysia, did a master's in Malaysia, did a PhD in Malaysia.
Starting from when?
I studied in Malaysia 2014.
2014.
Yes,
Wow.
I did a master's in LP University. Yeah. Then after that, I went over to University Kuala Lumpur for a PhD. I was studying in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah. So that brought me to one-on-one to the Malaysian education sector, and I saw the opportunities. And along the line, I said, okay, this my company could play a role in bridging educational gap, between Malaysia and African institutions. So my company started bringing in both public sector officials and individuals who want to study in Malaysia. So over the year we've been doing a lot in that regard.
All right, that's interesting. So, what do you think? Why do you think Malaysia is an ideal destination for capacity building and public sector for training of African nations?
I think Malaysia is quite ideal because when I came in here, I believe we in Africa we are doing well. But when I came into Malaysia, I found that Malaysia is quite up. It's quite up there, so there's a lot to learn. So part of what we did is we started getting African organizations, African government institutions to come to Malaysia. First a study mission, benchmarking study, then training partnerships where they learn from the Malaysia. How did Malaysia develop? How did the public sector grow? How did certain institutions grow in Malaysia? Africa has a lot to learn. So we became bringing them, and the relationship has been wonderful. So Malaysian public sector, Malaysian education system is quite better than what we have in Africa. That's why you see a lot of African students are coming here. And comparatively, it's cheaper compared to going to the UK, going to Canada, going to the US. And Malaysia being again an Islamic country, most of the African countries are Islamic countries and things like that. So it's quite okay for us. It gave me a lot of opportunity to be here. And Malaysians are very open, very warm, kind, things like that.
Happy to hear that.
Yeah, thank you.
From your experience, Mr. Kennedy, what are the most pressing training and development needs among African government officers today?
I think the key challenge we have in Africa for the government is issue of leadership.
Okay.
So I think there's a lack of, we need to have a training in leadership. We need to have again a training in public administration, because for you to run the government well, you need to know how to administer, how to run the institutions of government. So you need public administration. Then, thirdly, did I talk about governance? You need to have a training on corporate governance. So I think these three are key, for Malaysia looking into Africa, for government institution, looking at the corporate governance, looking at the leadership, looking at the public administration, mostly for government officials. Then aside from this, now we could look at the sectors, because looking at the industrial base, Africa is quite behind. Looking at Africa, look at agriculture, Africa is quite behind. So I think if Malaysia could develop, structured curriculum or structured training manuals in these sectors, it can attract a lot of African governments to keep sending officials here, because knowledge is everywhere in the world. You need to seek knowledge everywhere it is. And Malaysia is quite high in that area, so we have a lot to learn from Malaysia.
I see. Sure. Okay, I'm interested to know how does Prime plus South Africa act as bridge between African government and Malaysian institution?
Okay, currently we are open for partnerships. For Malaysian educational institutions, Malaysia institutions, different organizations, and over the years we've been having partnerships with a lot of organizations. Even your organization, the Olympia Education Institute, we have a partnership with you. We have a partnership with the University of Kuala Lumpur. Then some other private organizations, some like chambers of commerce in Malaysia, to have those partnerships. So part of that partnership is how do we bridge the gap, because three things we look at is trade, investments, and partnerships. Because we need the trade, we need the investment opportunity between Africa and Malaysia. Now we need the investment between Africa and Malaysia. Then we need a partnership that will cut across education, across agriculture, across industry, across healthcare, across all these places, So those partnerships is what we need. And Prime Plus Consult, we are like a bridge providing this. We'll be bringing a lot of government officials here, but somehow one of the challenges, I don't know if you get to that, Malaysia is actually not very open to accepting Africa as an investment destination. So Malaysia is focused on the Europe and America. You understand? Malaysia is focused on Europe and America. And I think in today's global economy, you don't neglect any region. You need to look at what will I get from Africa, what could I get from Europe, what could I get from South America, what could I get from Asia, all those things. You need to get all of them in. And Africa is a good opportunity for Malaysia. And we are in the forefront. We are open to all kind of partnerships, that will impact Africa, impact Malaysia. And we'll be doing that. Thank you.
And but what are some of the unique strengths of Malaysian training programs to make them suitable for African participants?
The unique opportunity first is on costs.
Okay.
Yeah, I think most of the trainings we have here, the cost is minimal compared to going to other European countries. And aside from the training costs, affordability for hotels, transportation, amenities you have in Malaysia, and somehow again, coming into Malaysia is much more easier as long as you have a visa. To go like some other, like the US currently, some Australia, you could have a visa, you have a sugar in it. So I think in that area is a strength for it. But another thing I think that just like other governments from Europe and America they come into Africa to do trade shows, promotions, to show their visibility. I think Malaysia should look at that. How do they maybe on a yearly basis Look at which African countries do they need to go and show me, say, oh, we are good in education, oh, we are good in health, oh, we are good in this, we can support you in this, we can train you on this, we can train you on that. Is it just for a lot of us that came to Malaysia that saw these opportunities and we're now promoting it in Africa? Do you understand? So there's a need for Africa to always come to the institution to come say, this is who we are, this is what we do, come for us. Because even in Africa, like we normally have a Canada education show, Australian education promotion programs, US, UK, they come there and get their students. Even India comes to market for health sector in Africa. You know, so a lot of Africans now go to India for health program, you know, both training, both medication, you know. So I think Malaysia will look at that. Though in the last, we say the last 4 or 5 years, Singapore government has been in Africa. You know, do a lot of programs, a lot of activity. They are playing a lot in Africa. So I think Malaysia can do that to be a good opportunity.
And could you share about, give me an example, a successful training program and or impact on African participants?
Example of a program?
Yeah, example and impact, the impact of African participants.
Okay, let me come again. In 2017, 2017, during the administration of the former Prime Minister, Najib, you know, we partnered, my company worked with the Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation. Because we went to Nigeria, we had a discussion, we told them about the Malaysian public service system. Then the Nigerian government is having a public service reform. So they were looking at countries they can use as a case study, you know, to study their public service so that they can replicate to Nigeria because they want to do a reform. So when I introduced them, they said, that would be good. So they came to Malaysia, I went to Singapore for public service reform. You know, so it's like about 63 officials came from Nigeria, including the head of service of Nigeria, Dr. Winifred Oyohita. So we brought them to Malaysia. They went to different agencies. They were here for like 1 week. And it affected what they learned here and in Singapore, helped them to, you know, in effecting the new policy, public service reform policy in Nigeria that came out in 2018 because of what they learned here. That is one. And after that, again, we've had so many people come. We brought in the Malaysian Customs Service, some officers from Malaysian Customs Service. And when they came here to learn about the border security management and managing contraband, you know, so managing contraband between the coming into countries, and it was quite decisive when the commodity landed there.
Okay, we move to the next question. So, Mr. Kennedy, what's your long-term vision for Prime Class Concert Africa in the future?
So from, you know, in the next couple of years, the next 5 to 10 years. Right now, we're working with partners in Malaysia. You know, we're looking forward to maybe registering the company in Malaysia and play more roles, not just on the education sector, but on the health sector, but on the agricultural sector, both in the research and development. Malaysia has a good things on the aerospace now, space. You know, look at those sectors because Africa needs this, you know. So I'm looking at in the long run, we have to establish more. Then I'm looking at in the long run, if possible, for a lot of Malaysian institutions to set up in Africa, whereby they could have now a stronghold in Africa. Because currently, if you come to Africa, Europeans are there, Chinese are there, Singaporean companies and institutions are there. But Malaysia is very, very limited. So I think in the next couple of years, I want to see a lot of Malaysian presence in Africa a lot. And I look forward to, like, currently one of the biggest companies in Africa industry, and it's operating in mostly like 11 countries now. Attract such investments, African investments into Malaysia, it will be very good for Malaysia. So I look at in the long run. And if possible, have other partnerships from Malaysia, we can help to do that.
It's good.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
So we are almost at the end, and what message would you like to share with African public servants and Malaysian training institutions who listening our podcast today?
Okay, I think for Malaysian training institution, I think they should be much more open.
Okay.
They should be much more aggressive to the Malaysian market. They should go out. Don't just wait for them to come. They will send you students or come to open, look at what is happening. And again, for the African public servants or public service, I think we have a lot to learn in Malaysia. So we need to explore more opportunities there. We need to explore more opportunities for the Africans. Keep looking at what we learn. Even on the AI, currently Malaysia is quite high. Or the technological trainings, Malaysia is quite high. I think for them in Africa, we need to come here and learn. So e-governance. So quite a lot to learn.
It's good to know from you, and thank you so much, Mr. Kennedy.
It's my pleasure.
For sharing your journey, knowledge, and your insight. It's inspiring me, and who's here that this podcast, and I hope it inspiring others to hear how education and training can reach continents, develop leaderships, and strengthen governance. So has been Rigid Minds Beyond Borders, Africa Meets Malaysian in Education and Government Training. I'm Krishna, and thank you for watching us, and thank you again, Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
So I hope we can meet again.
Yeah, I look forward to being with the program again.
Until we meet next time, and bye bye.
Bye. Take care.